Okay, well, yeah, I love that awareness, by the way. I mean, I think it's beautiful that you're even aware that there's options and decisions you're making that maybe aren't in your highest interest anymore. And Wendy's going to cover exactly all the things that are getting brought up. So I think that's beautiful awareness.
Mm.
So, as people are streaming in, I actually want to start right at 7, which it is right now, just so we can maximize Miss Wendy and all of the beautiful preparation she's put into what she's going to be teaching tonight. And for those that actually don't know Wendy, I'm really excited for you guys to get to know her. She's changed my life and thousands of others, and I can say that with confidence.
Mm.
Wendy is a author of this book. So if you don't have this book, y'all need to go buy this book. It's called Truth and Dare, Daring to Live Your Truth in a Fake World. Can I get a comment in the comment section if you know what that means? Like a fake world. How many of you feel that? Like, what the hell? So she has been on the TEDx stage before. She is an international retreat host. We actually just got back from Bali. She is helping basically help others come back to their heart, and doing that requires some unfolding and some unlayering. So tonight we're going to learn what it means to actually ascend with ease and flow and without it feeling overrated or overwhelming. And what I will say from being in her space is that anyone that gets in Wendy's space cannot not blossom, if that makes sense. So I'll say that again. Anyone who's in Wendy's space cannot not blossom. So she is someone that will call you out on your shit, but in the most encouraging ways to help you realize that there is so much more power within you. And the way through that is what she's going to teach us, how to go through it and not have to feel like we have to avoid that. So, Wendy, I'm actually going to turn the time over to you. We still have a few more people coming in, but I would love for you to utilize all the time we have together.
First of all, Brianna, you make me want to cry. I mean, how many of you, if someone said that you can't help but blossom in someone's presence, I mean, that is just such an incredible honor. I'm very humbled to be introduced that way. And my intention today is really for you to blossom because you're going to be in your presence. That's my goal today. You will blossom because you will be reintroduced to the magnificent individual that you are.
Mhm.
I would ask two things before we get going. One, can you please unmute yourself so that there's not feedback? Okay. Secondly, I would love to see your beautiful faces. I actually, and anybody in this role can attest, I do so much better really in a live setting where I can see faces, I can see reactions, I can see your beautiful energy. And if I only see a black screen, I don't get to see that. But I also understand that if you can't, or you feel like, heck, I'm here, I'm not showing you my face, I'm here, and that's as good as it gets, then that's what I'll take. But I want you to know that you chose you by being here tonight. You chose this time frame for wisdom to channel through me to you, because it's not my wisdom. I want you to understand it's not my wisdom and it's not my message. It is a message far greater than myself that I get to share with you tonight. And so I am really, really honored that you would spend your precious time. I really believe that time is actually a more precious commodity than even financial resources right now. So by you coming and showing up for yourself tonight, I want you to know I see that. And so before we get going, I feel very impressed. I always do this with all of my groups. I need to connect to myself so that I can channel this for you. So I'm using my oil that activates my mind space and my brain space to say, hey, by the way, we're going in our body and we're going to connect to spirit in your essence. And then what I did, I pulled a card because I love pulling cards. And it's from this beautiful Kuan Yin deck. And of course, it is the perfect card because why wouldn't it? Number 4, and it's called the Daughter of the Red Tent. And this could be the brothers of the red tent too. because there are brothers in this space as well. It's not just sisters and daughters. So sons of the red tent, daughters of the red tent. But I want you to hear the message because it's so perfect for tonight. You are at the threshold of a new life. You have outgrown the world you once knew, and even the person you once believed yourself to be. This is a sign of good life to come. Yet at the threshold, there can be danger. For that which is new is vulnerable until it gains full strength. You are held in sacred protection throughout this time of transition. I want you to hear that. You are held in sacred protection throughout this time of transition. Soon you shall emerge in full maturity and strength, integrated and ready to bring yourself to the world in a new form. It has been decreed thus by nature herself, and so it shall be. And it says, opening up to a new life takes courage. You will be willing to enter into unknown territory, and sometimes you may feel insecure as you find your way. To live a new life means leaving behind the life you have known. You may feel inspired, but also challenged. Whether you are loving the transition or struggling to get through it, know that you are held in the protection of the daughters of Ten. And I'm going to say, I've got lots of feedback. So if everybody mute their
Zoom.
that would be fantastic. You are being held by this community. I want you to look at all of the people here. We so far have 43 people on this. I want you to know these are your.
I can fix this bike for Hannah because everyone else is riding bikes and she doesn't have one.
Okay, I'm thinking that if you go up and you just mute all participants and then unmute me, we'll be good.
Yeah, it's not being used. And
Hey Candace, do you want to mute
pretty
your
good. I think my bike's too big for
Let's
her.
see.
And then I was thinking about putting the bike seat on her little bike on Hannah.
This is fun. I actually don't know how to mute everyone, so I'm going to ask you guys to.
To participants, I think you can mute everybody.
Okay, thank
Everybody,
you.
you're fine. Hey, we're in this together, remember? We are daughters and sons of the red tent. Right here, we are being held in a community of love. Being held in a space that's going to honor where you're at. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. We are going to be talking about there we go. Now we got it. Okay. We're going to be entering this new world, this 3D. We are stepping out of the 3D world and we're entering the 5D. I'm going to explain exactly what that means. Before we do it, I'm going to invite you all to just place one hand on your heart, one hand on your sacral. I invite you to take a nice, beautiful inhalation in through the nose, allowing your belly to rise. That means that we're going to get all the way through the 3 chambers, bringing that sacred pranic source energy into our belly, allowing it to rise into the middle of your chest and on the upper chest. Then allowing it to then exhale in the same manner with your upper chest, your mid chest, and your belly to just simply go back. Let's do that again. And imagine a beautiful iridescent glow above your head, allowing that beautiful glow to simply start to fall into your crown space, your third eye, your throat chakra. I am encouraging you all to be vulnerable and authentic today, which means that we're opening up the throat chakra and allowing ourselves to be heard, to be seen, that what you have to say is important and will help benefit the collective in this beautiful space, this sacred space of daughters and sons in the red tent. Allowing that beautiful light to filter in through our heart now, opening, expanding, allowing it to vibrate at the frequency of the highest. Bringing it down into our solar plexus, now into our sacral, now down into our root. Allowing that light to go down through your legs, through the soles of your feet, down to the center of the earth, connecting with Mama Gaia, with the Divine Mother, coming back up through allowing those, imagine red lights or red strings coming back through your feet and just connecting you to your heart space. You are connected and held safely in the arms of the Divine Mother, the Divine Father Sky, Mother Earth, and you and your essence are right in the middle. I ask that the Ascended Masters come and be with us at this time, that the light touch our ears so that we may hear only what needs to be heard, that the light touch our third eye so that we may be open to all the spiritual gifts that we have. We ask that the light touch our lips so we may speak and be bold in the sharing and the collective wisdom of all. And so it is, and so it is. All right, now I feel complete and I'm ready to share with you what I have prepared. So I'm going to go ahead and share a PowerPoint so that I can stay on topic. And let's go ahead and if I can do this with minimal interference here. Okay, let's see. Hang on. Un momento. Un momento. I always say that wrong. And my team just thinks I am so funny. I can't get that. There we go. Okay, there we go. Present full screen. Here we go. Everybody see it? Are we good, Brianna? Can you see this? Okay. All right. Thriving through ascension symptoms on the way to the 5D world. So I want you to understand that ascension is basically the same thing as maybe a healing journey, okay? And so I want you guys to just imagine that you are going through this deconstruction of what was, and you're entering a new realm. And with that, it's going to get a little bit stretchy, a little bit challenging. So I'm going to tell you what my main intentions for tonight are. The first is, I invite you all to relax into acceptance for where you're at right now. I can't tell you how many times I've had people reach out to me and say, Wendy, I must be doing this healing thing wrong because I don't feel better, or I'm using all the tools and I still don't feel peace. I must be doing something that is not right. There's something wrong with me as an individual. Somehow I thought by looking at my stuff, I would feel better, but I'm not feeling better. I would love for you guys to put in the chat. Any of you guys relate with this? Do you think, oh my gosh, like I just don't feel better? I'm committing myself to this practice. I'm committing myself to be here. And I don't know why I don't feel better. Anybody vulnerable enough to share that they're not sometimes they're doing okay, but maybe sometimes they're not doing okay. Did anybody relate to this? Okay. And I want you to, by the time you're finished, my goal is that you understand you aren't doing it wrong. You cannot screw this up. Okay. I want you also to understand that where you are headed, because if you have a little bit of a roadmap and you know where you're going, then it's easier to get through the bumps and the bruises along the way, the twists and the turns, the speed bumps, the potholes. You're able to navigate it with so much more grace, so much more ease, because you know where you're going. But if you don't know where you're going, then it's really hard to get there. And it's really hard to hang on and stay true to the course. And then I want you to understand collectively how this 5D reality is going to step in. And I want you to understand that it is a place free of suffering, with harmony, peace. Isn't that amazing that we have this ability to be in a place that is free of suffering? There is a space where non-suffering is in existence. And I want to share this with you. I want to show it to you. And I want you to know that all of the things that you are experiencing, if you are experiencing them, or if you have in the past, and sometimes you time to time, you still feel them, you are not alone. We are all in this together. We are all walking each other home. So I'm going to share with you what this is all about. First of all, is this healing thing for real? Okay. We talked about it because I'm not feeling better. I hear this so much. Or I hear the thing, I have taken the courses, I've done the tools, I've worked with coaches, I've gone to the retreats. I must not know how to do this because I'm not there, or I'm revisiting something that I thought was done. I have rehashed and rehashed and rehashed this thing, and I don't know why I'm not feeling any better. Any of you feel that way? That you go, I thought I healed this. I thought I addressed this trauma. I've done it probably over 1,000 times. Why am I still here? Anybody feel that way? Have you done that? Have you been there? I did it today. I'm going to tell you right now. Before I came onto this call and I started to teach, I taught thousands of times. Do you want to know how nervous I was today? And you want to know where that comes from? My need to feel important, my need to feel valued. So guess who got to sit in that space and value myself before I came on here? It's not about you. It's about me. It's about the internal world. It's about healing the internal world so the external world starts to show up differently instead of the reverse. Looking at the external world, think it's going to help you in your internal world. That's where we're going. So I want you to know awareness is the antidote to suffering. I want to say that again. What does that mean to you? In the chat, awareness is the antidote to suffering. What does that mean to you? I would love for you to put in the chat. We're going to have open dialogue here in a minute, but I would love for you to chat on that. What does that mean? Yes. Get the inside right and the outside will fall into place. But why is awareness where it starts? Why is awareness where we begin? Why does awareness lead us to a non-suffering state? Okay, it gives us permission to keep going. It shows us the illusions. Without awareness, there's no choice. Conscious choosing. Awareness reveals what is or what is not. If we're not aware, we have no idea what's going on. Yes. Okay, you guys are getting it. I love this. Being aware gives you choices. Absolutely. Between the stimulus and the response. Yes, Viktor Frankl. When I become aware of how I feel, then it starts to shift. Okay. All right. Awareness is where we start. And I want you guys to think, usually awareness begins, we start to deconstruct and step into this new phase because of something that has shifted in our life to the point where we have no other choice than to become aware. We have no other choice than to look the monster in the eye. And I know all of you guys have had something shift into your life. Otherwise, you wouldn't be addressing your healing. You wouldn't be here. So let's start to what awareness? Where did your awareness start? Mine awareness started in my body. My body started to scream so ferociously that I could not look. I had to look the monster in the eye. Maybe it was a loss of a loved one. Maybe it was divorce. Maybe it was a faith transition or faith expansion. What was it for you guys? What was the thing that was the catalyst for you to finally start to become aware? Where does it start for you? So for my son struggling, yes. How many of us became aware because one of our loved ones were not in a good space? Maybe it was addiction. Maybe it was someone else's addiction, death, health. Yes, all of these things. And those were beautiful gifts. And at the time, you might have thought that the world was against you, but you'll start to see that the universe always helps you break through the binds of fear and allows you to expand in the fullest version of yourself that you were sent here for by allowing you to become aware. So we can look at those things, anxiety, divorce, boundaries, okay? All of those things allowed you to become aware of the things that were running the show. Okay, and here's the key. Once you see, you cannot unsee. How many, by raise of hands, just raise your hands. How many of you know that once you see, you cannot unsee? There's no going back. There's no going back. There's only going forward. Because if you try and hide yourself again, you will just fall into this place of utter despair and depression. Once you see, you cannot unsee. So it's now time to look at what you've got. What did you create in the Maybe my situation is 53 years. What did I create? And that's what happens. You you open the closet, folks. Okay. Most of you didn't even know it existed. We were out putting out fires in the 3D world. We were doing ourselves to death. We were, and maybe some of you still find yourself in that you're addicted to cortisol, you're addicted to adrenaline, you're in the need to just be busy all the time. And then something like divorce or something got you to the place where you finally were quiet enough to start becoming aware of, I cannot feel this way anymore. I cannot do this anymore. Okay. Oh, I love that, Chelsea, 55. Woo! Yes. And we're going into the 5D world. This is amazing, right? So I want you to imagine for a second, you're living life in this house that you've created. And you didn't even know that there was a closet there because you were too busy putting out the fires. And then all of a sudden, something brought you to this awareness and you started to see your house in a little bit more light. And all of a sudden you see that there's this closet that you didn't know was there. So you decide to take a chance and open that closet. And as you open that closet, here it is stuffed to the brim with everything that you didn't want to see, every feeling you didn't want to feel, all of the things that you thought you didn't have to address or didn't want to, or didn't even know it existed. You might have lived life in a situation where you just did life that way. You were shown how to do life like that. How many of you out there have lived a life of codependency, a life that involved everybody else, but not yourself? So there is a pattern of self-betrayal, and you didn't even know you self-betrayed because you were doing it in the act of service, in the act of kindness, in the act of love. You didn't even know that you self-betrayed all the time. How many of you started to see and recognize that there were patterns that you have created that were not in alignment with your highest and truest version of yourself? So you open this closet and it is stuffed, and you open the closet and it just falls on the ground. And now you're looking at this heap of a mess and you're going, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. It is so completely overwhelming. I don't even know where to begin. And I actually have someone in my mastermind right now that is a professional organizer. And I explained what happens when you decide you want to clean out the closet. What happens when you want to decide to embark on this healing journey? Is it going to get messier before it gets organized? And of course, we know the answer to that. If anybody's cleaned out anything in their life, they know that it's going to get messier before it gets organized. Because before the awareness, you just pretended it wasn't there. And now you have awareness, and now you're feeling feelings that you haven't probably felt before. You're starting to unravel program stories and beliefs that you didn't even know were part of your existence because you just lived life in this manner that was on autopilot. And here you are staring and looking at the mess and deciding what you want to do. So what do we do when we're organizing? We start to decide what we're going to keep, what is going to go and be given to the DI or at a garage sale or a yard sale, and what is going to be thrown away. So that is the process. If you're right in the heart of this place that you feel like you're swimming sometimes, you feel like you're so overwhelmed with all of the things that are coming into your awareness. I had one woman that said, I cry all the time. Like I just randomly just cry. Congratulations. You're looking at your closet. You're finally looking at it. That's where we start. If you don't even know the closet's there, you can't organize it and clear the clutter from your life. So you've decided to do that. But guess what? We're moving into a new house in a new dimension. And it's really fabulous. Like, think about your dream house. That's where we're going. But we can't take the things with us that don't serve this house. I want you to think about going into your dream home. Is it even the same color scheme? Do you have a bunch of brown stuff and you don't want to bring it into your white house? Or maybe you're going into a beachy house and you've got things for a mountain house. I don't know. But regardless, what I'm saying is that your new house doesn't even match your old decor. You can't pile new items on top of the old and expect it to be okay. How many of you think, well, if I put enough positive affirmations and I think enough positive thoughts, I'm going to outwit the old stuff? We cannot put lipstick on a pig, you guys. It doesn't work, right? We've got to get rid of the old. We've got to give some of it to the DI, and we've got to decide what is our truth, what really is from us, okay? It can be as easy as putting it in a box. You can just look at it and go, you know what? This doesn't serve me. I'm done. And it can be that fast. It doesn't have to be that heavy. It could just be you simply looking at it and connecting with it and deciding if it's yours or not. But there are going to be those things, and you probably can relate to this. You'll put something in a box to give to the DI, and it keeps going, well, what if you need it? But what if you need it? What if you want to see this again? Oh, but there's so much connection. That has some meaning from my childhood. Maybe I need to look at it. Maybe I need to hang on to it. Maybe I want this. And those are the things that we're going to have a practice at the very end that I'm going to teach you to just sit with those things. Like today, I have that old, I need to feel value. I need to be seen as important. Those are the things that I am going to, at times, sit with, because I'm going to show you what happens. The big ones, the ones that keep calling to us, the ones that have been deeply rooted in us since we were little tiny, and these were programs that started when we were very young, are the ones that we get to revisit from time to time. So I want you to understand that healing is like a tornado, okay? Oh, before I go on, I want to hear this. There's no shit coming with us to the mansion or the new home. We are allowed to break up with what was and have gratitude for it at the same time. Plus, means someone else learns from what we have learned from. It's not right or wrong. Yeah, someone else will learn from it, right? Because, and if we're vulnerable and authentic enough to share it, share the fact that there are times when we're fearful, times when we feel insecure, times when, and the people, anybody that's worked with me will know, I will share with you my state at any given moment. I am not embarrassed. I am not embarrassed about my human side. I love the fact that I feel it all. I feel every single one of the emotions. I stand for it. I want to feel those things. There's no shame in sadness. There's no shame in loneliness. And that's another thing that we get with spiritual bypassing, is that we somehow think that when we are healed, that we never feel those things. And I am here to tell you that is not true. You will still be able to visit sadness. You will still be able to feel loneliness and grief, but you'll look at it in a different way. Instead of resisting it, you'll start to acknowledge the great beauty of it. Okay? So I want you to see the tornado of healing. Okay, I want you to imagine this tornado, and this is the best picture. I wish it was like one that grew and grew and grew. Just imagine that it is, okay? So at the base of the tornado, it is a part of your story that you visit so often that you don't even know it's there. It just is always present, always, 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 always present. But as you become aware, and awareness is the antidote to suffering, it starts to be unwind and you start to see it. And in that pause, you get to make a choice. It comes around until you decide and deconstruct the program. And then it starts to go up that cone, and we get to utilize compassion, forgiveness, acceptance to be able to finally come to a place where it no longer is in the tornado and it's let go. We let go of it. Now, I want you to understand that means that, say perhaps you have sexual trauma and you have had EMDR, you've done sound healing, you've done inner child work, you've done soul retrieval, you've done all the things, but you still see it come back from time to time. You're just in the tornado. You don't see it very often. And sometimes what happens, we get so intolerant with that because if you don't feel it for a long time and all of a sudden you feel it again, you're like, why is this back in my life? I shouldn't be here. I graduated from this place. No, that's not true. You're just allowed to say, is this still part of your story? Do you want this or do you want to let it go? Do you want this or do you want to let it go? So as we're going and unraveling this healing, I want you to understand it's not a one and done. It's not just this process. And I believe that we will be unfolding, unpacking this, even when we get into the 5D world. We'll still be in a place where 10, maybe 20% of the time, we're still doing this, but we're going to see it different. I'm going to show you how. Are you guys excited? Excited to go and get into the 5D world? Do we want to know what that is? Right? I'm going to start by describing our 3D, because you can only see what the 5D is if you know what we have been living in. Okay. Any comments, questions, things before we get into this? Anything about the healing journey that you want to share? I'm watching your chats as they come up. Okay, I'm going to tell you what 5D is too. So the 3D world is what we're currently living in, what you have come to know as your reality. This is the reality of struggle and strategy. It is what all of our systems are based on. The 3D is all about there has to be a struggle in order to have a strategy. So look at healthcare, look at government, look at business, look at education, okay? I want you to witness the fact that every single one of them only can exist because there is a problem. We have to search for the problem. There's got to be a problem, and there's got to be a thing that we're struggling with so that we can find the answer for the strategy, okay? That's what our 3D world exists on. No business would thrive without that. Government wouldn't be in existence if we didn't have a problem. Education wouldn't be there to enlighten and awaken our mind so that we can see things, so that we can assess and figure out the current the problem. But here's the thing, our education system, we're starting to dismantle that, aren't we? We're starting to really own spiritual gifts and expand spiritual gifts. We're starting to see other ways of learning. We're starting to see other ways of business. We're starting to see other ways of leading, okay? Which is so exciting. So I want you to we're going to keep with this one. This way of existence keeps us cycling in the drama triangle. So there has to be a problem, which is the persecutor. So there's got to be a strategy. There has to be a solution, right? Okay. Oh, excuse me. Flip that. I did that wrong. There has to be a problem, which is the problem. There needs to be find a solution, which is a strategy. And then the resistance is the solution. Okay. So I want you to kind of understand this cycle. And I'm going to talk about money because we talked about money last Monday. And I love talking about money. So I'm going to talk to you about money tonight. So how many of you in the chat have felt like money was the villain in your life or the persecutor? How many of you have said in your mind or out loud, I hate money? Okay. Anytime in your life. Yeah. In the past, you've said that. Anybody? Have you ever said, oh, if money didn't exist, I wouldn't have all these problems. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. Anybody say that? Or am I just like, is this just something? Yeah. Okay. I would say the vast majority of people are focused on earning more money, but they will say and worry all night long. I can tell you, there was a time in my life where I would wake up at midnight and I would calculate my checkbook because I never had enough money for the month. Okay. I never had enough money for the month. And so I would sit there and figure out how am I going to get money? And I hated it. It controlled my life. It controlled my freaking life. So my problem or my villain was money. I hated money. It gave me so much stress. It gave me so much worry. But what was the answer to my problem? Money. So it was also my rescuer. My rescuer was money, but it was my villain. But it was my rescuer, but it was my villain. But it was my rescuer. Okay. So I was literally energetically saying, I hate you, money. I freaking hate you. You ruin this world. It causes so much problem. It causes so much strife. And on the other hand, I'm like, save me money, come into my life and take care of all my problems. Are you seeing this? Could you imagine being in a relationship with someone like that? You probably have been in a relationship like that, where someone is pushing you away, but wanting you in the same breath. Can you imagine? We call this sometimes personality disorder, bipolar, narcissistic behavior, and we do it all the time with things in our life, even if we're not conscious of it. So we're constantly looking for the problem. And in healing, this translates to this. In healing, it translates into, oh, I've got this coming up. Okay, where is this coming from? Where's the problem? What did it happen? What age? Where did it come from? I've got to figure out a solution to this problem because I'm feeling this way and it feels so uncomfortable and I'm going to figure it out. I got to figure it out. What am I going to do? And we become crazy in our brains. Our brains are trying to figure out a solution. We have literally in the 3D world wired our brain to look for problems. So as you're healing and you're starting to dismantle it, it's going to try to find the problem. Oh, I feel this way because my mom did this. Oh, I feel this way because I'm programmed by my religion for this. Oh, I feel this way because I was bullied at school. It doesn't matter. You're going to find the problem. You're going to find the problem and it will keep you stuck in the cycle of suffering. You will never be able to figure out with your mind how to get out of this. It will keep you on a hamster wheel of suffering that you cannot get off. It also keeps us in judgment. When we're in the drama triangle, someone has to be right and someone has to be wrong, always. Okay. And this is the heart of our 3D world and the wars that have consumed our universe. Because someone has to be right and someone has to be wrong. Are you guys seeing this? Are you seeing that our 3D way of living is keeping us in suffering? Because if someone has to be right and someone has to be wrong, someone has to be a villain and someone has to be a victim, right? And so when we get into these conflicts of someone's right, someone's wrong, we start to just perpetuate and there's never any agreement. Right? Yeah. And we place blame, right? You're the problem. I've got it right. You've got it wrong. What we're going to be stepping into in the 5D reality is the fact that we take 100% responsibility for our lives and we decide with every choice that there's a cause and effect. It doesn't have to do with anyone else except for what we are creating within ourselves. And every single individual can create from their point of reference. There is no right or wrong. There is no, like if someone chooses something that ends up in prison, that's a cause and an effect, right? So we're starting to step out of this drama triangle. We're starting to enter a thing, what I call 5D reality. This is where I believe we're going as a collective. And let me show you where that is. Oh, I also want you to understand too, it keeps us in fight and flight. And especially in healing, what I see most of the time is that people cannot get out of trying to solve a problem. They're trying to solve the problem of feeling uncomfortable. They're trying to find a problem for feeling pain in their body. They're trying to find a solution to the problem of this relationship where they're now moving into more higher consciousness, but their partner isn't. And that's the problem. The problem is that the other partner isn't buying into this new way of being and seeing. And so we constantly are looking at a problem. And that will keep you stuck in fight and flight. Our body continues to say, oh, she's got a problem. We got to figure this out. She's in fight and flight. That will keep you stuck in cortisol, adrenaline, nervous system dysregulation, and you cannot step into what is true and possible. When you are in nervous system dysregulation, when we're looking at all these brilliant things to create, we cannot step into what is true and possible because our brain won't even let us go into that space. And in 5D, you start to imagine what is actually true and possible in your life. So we've got to get you out of the 3D cycle of drama triangle. And I'm going to tell you, when you start to become aware of these patterns, you'll notice that it really does consume every part of our life, because the outside world does life this way. It keeps us hungry. We have to fix it. Okay. Our brain keeps so hungry. And I'm going to share with you the 3 stages of getting out of hunger. I already talked to you about this. When we're in this place of healing, we are so hungry. Our brain, our ego is so hungry. It's like a caterpillar that will not stop eating. It's constantly searching for a solution to a problem, a solution to a problem, a solution to a problem. And it will never get satiated. It will never stop trying to eat. So what happens when a caterpillar finally surrenders and accepts what is? It finally gets into the cocoon stage, right? It starts to get into a relaxation of everything's happening for me instead of against me. It starts to relax into emotional intelligence. It starts to relax into body sensation and somatic acceptance, what your body's telling you and trying to communicate with you. It starts to relax into there isn't a problem for you to fix. It starts to relax into it's okay for them to see things different than me. In fact, it's beautiful. As Brianna shared with us all about human design and gene keys, it is necessary for them to see things different. It's necessary for them to create differently than us. Isn't that fantastic? Nobody has to be the same. And in that state of pausing and acceptance and ending the war inside of our minds so that the war outside of us stops, we get into a cocoon, and that's when the butterfly emerges and the suffering stops. You guys seeing this? You understanding this? Does this make sense? Any comments so far? Any questions? I'm opening it up for a second. We're going to go into the next one. Here we are, 5D world. This is where I take people oftentimes so they can feel it in their body, because right now what we're doing is we're awakening the mind. Okay, we're illuminating the mind to see what's true and possible, allowing you yourself to see more awareness. But really where the true change comes in is awakening the heart and feeling our emotions, feeling our body sensations, feeling what it feels like to be safe on this plane, on this earthly plane. And then we become and integrate it, and we become those things. And that is the realized soul. So 5D world is authentic self. It's truly you. You get to exist in your highest and best, brightest light. This is how we're going to change the world, people, because when we are in our true illuminated self, it gives everybody else permission to do so too. And it allows us to shine on this dark, crazy world that thinks that the drama cycle is the only way to exist. That someone's got to be right, someone's got to be wrong, that someone's got to be a victim, someone's got to be a villain, that there's got to be a problem. In authentic self, we decide that there's no problem. No matter what comes into our awareness, it's not a problem for us to fix. It's just something to experience. There is no need for strategy, and there is no need for solution, because there is no problem. Does this seem a little pie in the sky? I'm just curious. Are people out there going, how does that even, how does that exist? How is that even a possibility? Or are you guys starting to see? I would love to hear. I know you're going deep with this one. I can see it. I can see your faces going, is this really true and possible? Is this really a thing? Yeah. Okay. All right. You're like, okay, all right, give me the juicy. Tell me how to do this. How do we do this? Right? Like, I want to go there. You guys, it exists. It exists. Ladies that have been with me, and so far it hasn't been men that have been on experiences, but it will. I've got some experiences coming up for men too. What does it feel like to be in 5D? Those of you that have been there and you've felt it in your body and you've realized it in your soul. What does it feel like? Please chat and tell Drunk on Love. Okay, I love that. bliss. Okay. This is our bliss state. Amazing. There are no words to adequately describe it. Bulletproof, freedom. Every day is a magical adventure, accepted, fearless. You guys, this is where we're going. I want you to know this is where we're freaking going. Okay. Joy, freedom, and peaceful. There isn't a need for suffering anymore. The only reason why suffering needs to be in existence is because we are living in a 3D reality and we are stepping away from that consciously on a universal conscious level on planet Earth. We are shifting away from that. Yeah, gossip's non-existent because there's no comparison. You shining your light doesn't dim my light. We collectively light up the world together. Light and excitement. This is where we're going. So these are the steps to living in 5D. Okay. We first have to clean and organize the closet. Okay. This is where we are looking at what is serving us, what is not serving us, and what we want to throw away and not let anybody else have that experience in either. I would say the vast majority needs to be taken to the dump. Okay. Very few things are you going to need to take and give to someone else. Not the kindest thing to do, right? If it doesn't serve you, it probably doesn't serve anybody else either. Okay. Stop feeding the hungry mind. How do we do that? Well, your brain is wired from the 3D reality of living to look for the problem. So when you get an emotion, how many of you, if it's a low vibrational emotion, say it's loneliness, say it's sadness, say it's guilt. That's a big one for us parents. If you are a parent, you've probably experienced guilt. When those things come up, what is the typical reaction of most people? You don't have to share what you do, but what happens with most people when guilt comes up? Anybody? We freeze. Guilt leads to shame. There's something wrong with us. I'm going to make a meaning out of it. The problem is me. The problem is me. So I'm going to own it. I'm taking 100% responsibility here. I'm going to take my guilt and turn it into shame. No, right? We are hiding. The problem is me. Yeah, we hide. We hide. We negatively spiral. Our nervous system, how many of you have gotten into a place of spiraling because your nervous system is saying, you're in fight and flight, you're in fight and flight, and we spiral because these thoughts, they won't stop. They won't stop. So stop feeding the hungry mind. And I'm going to show you one thing. Today, I want to share with you at least one thing that's going to help you stop feeding the hungry mind. Okay. And the last part is absolute surrender and acceptance for everything that enters your reality. I get to practice it 3 times today. I had a situation. It was so interesting. I had a beautiful morning, and then I had something come into my awareness that questioned my value. So I got to sit with value was a thing today. Let's just say it. It's the thing. It has been my thing. It's the thing that is in the box that keeps calling to me. And I am saying I'm getting rid of it. I don't tell that story anymore. That's the other thing we don't do. Once we step out of that part of us, we stop telling the story. Don't add fuel to the fire of that story. But I got to sit with it many times. I got to have a daughter express her concerns with some of the things that I've done in my past. And I got to sit with that. I got to sit with many places that came into my awareness. And rather than thinking that I'm a victim and I'm being attacked, I got to just sit with the emotions. I got to process and observe them. I didn't attach any meaning to them. There was no meaning about my emotions. There was no meaning about what was happening. I just got to experience it and allow it to filter through me. And that's where you can go to. As soon as you start to organize that closet, and there's lots of things that you can do. We won't have enough time to go through all of them, but stop feeding this hungry mind. That is going to be your biggest thing, is to go within and know that your answers are not going to lie outside of you. We are stepping away from figuring it out externally and starting to be in an internal world. And I'm going to tell you what's really cool about this is all those things that you did, all those systems, all those trainings to your business or to make more money or to have deeper relationships. When you work on this piece, instead of you climbing the mountain comes to you. When you change your internal world, the external world spontaneously shows up for you. And it's like magic. It's so cool. And so the final piece is absolute surrender and acceptance for what is. You are no longer in resistance. The resistance is what keeps you in nervous system dysregulation. This should not be happening, right? This should not be happening, will not be a part of your program anymore. And as I learned from Byron Katie and Angel, this should be happening because it is. This should be happening because it is. I had a business deal that fell apart today, and I actually celebrated it because it should be happening because it is. And it wasn't right for this other, this party that was going to purchase it. It was, and it opens up space for someone else to come in. There was no resistance because it wasn't a problem. Is this making sense? Okay, we're going to do one more thing. I'm going to give you a tool to start with. This can change your life because it stops feeding the hungry mind. It allows you to witness and become the observer in your system, in your body, and stop trying to analyze it and fix it. So the serene mind practice is basically learning to become the observer, and restructuring the pattern of feeding the mind, feeding the ego. So I'm going to share with you what that looks like, and then we're going to practice it. First of all, we connect to the breath. I'm going to talk to you. One of the things that I teach is that prana is literally source energy. When we breathe, we are breathing in source energy. It is one of the most powerful things that you can do to alter your state of being. So we're going to use yogic breath, which means it was like at the beginning when we took in inhalations deep into our belly, and we filled up all three chambers of our diaphragm and our lungs, all three chambers, and we allowed it to expand our belly, then expand our mid chest and expand our upper chest. And then we allow it to go back down like a wave. And we're going to connect with that 3 intentional, beautiful yogic breaths. Okay. We're going to connect to source energy first. And then we're literally, and this comes with how I usually use this is when I'm in a state of confusion or I'm in a state of resistance within myself, or I feel that old version of me come up, I will use this 3-minute practice to help me find clarity again, for me to be at a state of homeostasis. So I'm going to observe my state. I'm going to ask you tonight to take out that thing that keeps calling you from that box. What is that thing? You all have a thing. You all have a thing. If you want to be vulnerable and authentic, you can share your thing. What is that thing that keeps haunting you, that keeps coming to you, that for whatever reason you keep throwing it away and it keeps saying, but wait, there's sentimental value. But wait, if you give up that, then what does that mean about you and your family? They won't understand you anymore. But wait, what is that thing? What is that thing? Feeling left out, absolutely. Judgment and criticism of myself. Okay, there's that thing. So I'm going to ask you to bring that thing into your awareness. And I'm simply going to ask you to observe your state. We're not trying to push it. We're not trying to pull it. We're simply just observing it. Next, we're going to check in with our flow of thinking. Where are we with our thoughts? Are they in the past? Or are they in the future? Or are they right here? Again, no judgment. Remember, in 5D, there's no judgment because there's not a right or wrong. There is just being in this state. And then we're going to connect to a visualization of a flame right here in between your in your third eye. And when we connect to that flame, we're then going to visualize it entering to the middle of your head and then dissolving into the oneness of all. because that's what we really are. We're connected to all. We get so self-obsessed with our state of being, and that's why it also feeds our hunger, because we get obsessed with thinking that we're alone in this, or obsessed that we can't get this right, or whatever it is. We become obsessed with our body and the way that our body feels, or obsessed with a loved one. And we get into that cycle of staying in that problem. So we're going to now merge into the oneness of all. So I'm going to do this and practice this with you, but I want to make sure, Brianna, I can see you. So I just want to see if we are actually, if you can hear my music. So just 1 second. Oops, just a minute. I want to make sure I've got good music. Music makes all the difference, you guys. It just does. Can you hear this music?
Not too much. Will you put it closer? I heard it for a moment.
So we've had this issue in the past. Zoom is super hard with music when you're trying to play music.
Just I can't hear it.
So
Can you do audio? And just 1 second. Let's go into the settings really quick.
Go into screen share.
Do it. I can go on it. Audio settings, and then we're gonna do.
If you go into screen share, advanced sharing, it'll say
Okay.
share computer audio.
Can you hear that now?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear it now.
Yes.
Okay. Can you hear it well?
Good. Second time.
Oh, wait a second. We want that. We want that. Right? Can you hear it?
That's better. Whenever you're doing that second time. Dr. Shane said it's coming through the microphone, not through the computer.
Okay. Yeah, it's not coming through the computer. So we'll work with it. I just want you guys to be relaxed. That's all. Okay. So I invite you to sit upright so that all your chakras are in alignment with an erect spine, but not too uncomfortable. Placing your hands in your lap, placing your thumb and your pointer finger together. And now I want you to connect to that beautiful yogic breath. Taking a beautiful inhalation. That intentional breath all the way down into your belly. Allowing your belly to expand. Bringing that air up to the mid-chest and the upper chest. Exhaling from the upper to the mid to the lower. Taking another breath into the belly, into the mid-chest, into the upper chest, connecting with source energy, allowing that beautiful source energy to fill you with the divine light, the divine wisdom, the divine connection to your essence, to each other, to the divine. Breathing that out in the same beautiful pattern. And one last breath into the belly, into the mid-chest, into the upper chest. And exhaling, allowing yourself to feel relaxed, to feel at one, to feel at peace. Now bringing into your awareness that state of being. Observing it, being curious. Becoming like a little child with no judgment, just curiosity. What part of your body does that reside in? What emotion does that bring up? Can you identify the emotion? Can you give it a name? Is it sadness? Is it loneliness? Is it despair? Is it anger? Just observing. If you could give it a color, what color is it? Does it have a texture? Does it have a weight? Is it heavy? Does it have a quality about it that you're curious about? Does it take up multiple areas in your body? Now tune into those thoughts. As you begin to be aware of your thoughts, are they in the unchangeable past? Are they in the uncontrollable future? Or are they present right now? No judgment, just curiosity. Now bring the awareness to the middle, in between your eyebrows, into the third eye region. And imagine that there's a flame there. Connect to that flame with your awareness. Intentionally connect to that. Use your breath to connect. Now bringing that flame to the middle, the center of your head, your brain space, connecting to that pineal, hypothalamus, pituitary. And now seeing that flame grow ever brighter, expanding you into the oneness of all, the collectiveness of everything, of universal consciousness, and dissolving into the awareness of the collectivity instead of solely into yourself. Feeling the peace that washes over your body, over your mind. Taking one last breath. And when you feel fully ready, opening your eyes. Hello, welcome back. What was your experience like with that? How did you feel in your system? What did that do for you? Maybe it didn't do anything. There's no judgment, right? I could feel the heat and the expansion. Isn't that beautiful? Now, there's no judgment if you sat there and you went, I didn't feel anything. In fact, my mind was racing. I couldn't even concentrate. Tears, connection, felt so much. Yeah. I want you guys to know that the 5D world exists. The world where there is the end of suffering. It's a non-suffering space where we're not in resistance to anything or anyone anymore. Where there isn't a problem for us to fix, where we invite to feel our emotions, to feel and be a part of this experience, and that we create heaven on this earth. And in doing that, I want you to understand that we will collectively allow ourselves to bring up the rest of the human consciousness to the level that we are all vibrating at this frequency. I want you guys to applaud yourself being in this room, because you are part of this. You are a part of this. So I'm going to open up to questions and answers, and then I think I have one last thing. But I would love to hear from any of you. Anybody want to say something verbally, Your voice matters. Your experience matters. Your vulnerability and authenticity matters. So if you would like to say something, use the little reaction button, put your hand up and ask any question. I will do my best to answer you.
Yeah, you guys can go ahead and unmute yourselves as well. So feel free to just unmute and either share or ask Wendy questions.
Anybody brave enough? We're all in this together. I got nothing. There's nothing. I got nothing. It's okay. Okay, fabulous.
So beautiful. My gosh, you brought tears to my eyes. What the heck? And I do a lot of this 9D work. So this is powerful stuff that you're doing. So thank you for sharing. I really, really appreciated the steps that you put out tonight. I'm very excited to go into 5D. I'm very excited to know that we can take control or we can get rid of this freaking ego mind and find this peace and this beauty. Yes. And hearing everybody that's been to your classes and they know of this and, you know, in the chat, it's exciting. So thank you for sharing, and I feel it and I'm excited.
Oh, thank you, Margot. I feel it's like we're stepping into that power that was always there, right? We just gave it away our whole life. And so going, yes, I can do this. Does this give you guys a little more hope when you feel like you're swimming in your own, like for lack of a better word to say, in your own shit? Like, oh, yeah. Do you feel like you can actually keep your head above now? Because you're like, oh my gosh, I know where I'm going. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm not supposed to be anywhere but here.
Well, and what you said, that we didn't even realize it. You know, we were giving to everyone around us. We didn't even realize. I mean, that was powerful.
I love that. I think, Melissa, you've got your hand up.
Let me put my hand down. I guess a question for me, and I really appreciated everything that you shared, is I think something that I struggle with is I feel like I'm getting better at like allowing myself to be in wherever I'm at. Mm-hmm. But I think there's a part of me, so I don't know, I guess I'm looking for feedback. And I know it's ego, but like this part of me that I think it comes from this like older sister part of me, you know, that's like, oh, other people are suffering and allowing that versus feeling like, oh, I have to take it and help them fix it. So I don't know if you have any like thoughts on just ways to allow.
So the more you dismantle this, such a great question. And I'm positive that there are a bunch of people out there going, yeah, but this person, that person, the other person, right? The more that you get into that internal world, the external world won't push your buttons quite as much. There won't be a need to fix because there is no problem. That person isn't a problem. The thing that they're doing isn't a problem. And what happens is your connections become so close. I always thought that I needed to fix my family. My poor family had lots of uninvited solicitation from this girl because I was going to fix their problems. I was the savior for everybody. And it distanced us because it solidified the thought of, you don't have this. You don't know how to do this. You aren't enough. Because I got to fix you. You don't have the answers. I better come up with the answers because you don't have it. But the more that we get into a space of there's no problem and I love you. And that is unconditional love, Melissa. That is unconditional love, is when we can step into that space. Now, does it take practice? Yes, and more, yes. And I'm going to tell you though, the more you work on your internal world, all of a sudden those connections become deep and fulfilling, and all the things you wish you know, your former self would have told them to do, they just naturally start doing it. I'm going to tell you that I had a daughter that I never, ever thought we would be close, ever. And she is one of my best friends. And it happened in a space of 1 year. 1 year! 28 years of toxic behavior from both parties. And she is one of the people that light my life up. I'm telling you, you focus on you. Focus on you, focus on you, focus on you. Okay? When you choose you, you choose everyone. Everybody I work with knows that I say that all the time. They get the highest, most vibrant, light version of yourself. And that facilitates change. It will be a ripple effect on everybody you touch.
Awesome. Thank you. That's helpful.
You're welcome. Okay. I think I have time for one more question.
You do.
Always here, you guys. Oh, okay, I got it. Roger, I see your hand.
Okay, I'll be brief. Just one other point. The point was, this happens in the now moment. Can't be into the past. You don't create anywhere but in the now moment. And if you're trying to make something in the future or make something from the past, it'll defeat your effort. So it's very peaceful if you stay in the now. That's the only point.
Thank you. 5D is here. 5D is now, right? 5D is not in the future and 5D is not in the past. And it's deprogramming, right? It's deconstructing. Our brain, every part of us relies on a pattern. You guys taught it a pattern. The 3D world taught you a pattern. The shift is uncomfortable and stretchy because we're redoing and teaching it a new pattern. Okay? Love that. Thank you. I love these comments. Brianna, do you want to say anything?
Well, just my own experience working alongside with you and Angel and just other light beings on this call. I'm amazed at how fast things can shift, and it doesn't take years or decades. So I really appreciate your sharing that meditation to have an experience. And the last thing I'll say is that Wendy is great at not just sharing something, but wants you to actually like feel it in your body. Like it's not done until it's like felt, which is really cool. So Wendy, why don't you actually go ahead and wrap up this beautiful training with us on really how people can learn more from you? How do they stay in contact with you? What would their next steps be along this 5D journey? And what would you like to share with the group tonight?
Oh, I'd love to. I really tuned into spirit before as I was preparing this. What did people need? What did people need to hear? What would the healing balm of peace feel like? And what could I share with them? And what could I do to help them move to the next level? Because that's one piece. We gave you one thing. I'm going to tell you, if you will use serene mind, each time that something happens in your life where you feel that tension and you feel that confusion happen in your system, which stress normally is confusion. I want you to know that stress isn't usually something, it's usually confusion. And so if you will use that in those moments, your life will change. If you will stop feeding your hungry mind for a need to solve a problem. So, but I'm going to share with you, because some of you guys might want to go a little deeper. And so I've got whoops, what did I do? Okay. Okay, I don't even know where this is. So why would my thing just kind of go away? But I don't know. And I can't shift this. Okay, that's interesting. There we go. Okay, now I got it. Okay. So I like easy. I like fast. I like fast results. I like it to be something where it's not taking an enormous amount of time, but you're finding the results. So I've got something that's going to happen next Monday through Friday online, so anybody can access it. 5 days, 5 tools, 5 shifts, and the price, of course, is $55. It's a live online class each day. I am live on there, teaching you more information and additional content, additional tools. You'll have community interaction and support because we learn from each other. And I will give you tangible tools that you get to use right away. And then we get to practice and then we get to try again. And then we practice and we try again. And we share it with each other, the struggles along the way, so that we can identify where the struggle and where that problem is that you think exists, and dismantle it so that you can see it differently. So if this serves you, I am going to open this up. Brianna has a link where you can sign up, and I am going to limit it so that I can be present with everybody there. So it's not too large of a group. And so I'm offering it to you guys first. If it fills up, it fills up. And if not, then I'll share it with the rest of my network. You can always be in my life, no matter whether you are with me on a program or an experience. Like, I go all around the world. Wendy at wendybunnell.com is my email. wendybunnell.com is my website. You can find me on social media by my name. I want you to know I am here because I love you. I'm not here because of a value exchange. I want my sisters and my brothers to rise together. And so we're all in this together, and we're all using our unique gifts to take us there. So I am so honored to be in this space with you today. Namaste.
Hey, Wendy, we have
One-
one question, which is super important. With your 5-day training, they are asking what time is that at?
Okay, I'm gonna go live every day at 10 a.m. But the cool thing is it's recorded and it's right on the platform where everybody's gonna be at. So whether you can go live or not live, it doesn't matter. If you can see it in that day, I still will go in. Even if you weren't there at the time, you can still ask questions. It is very interactive. So it doesn't matter if you can make it on time or not, okay?
Beautiful. Cool. Anybody else have any questions for Wendy before we hop off and wrap this up? You guys also, we did put her email in the chat as well. So if you want to reach out to her and get more clarification, I'm sure she's super happy to have that conversation with you as well. But
Is there-
I thought, what's that?
Oh, sorry. Is there a link for the 5-day, or are we supposed to connect through Wendy's email?
Yes, I'm gonna put the link in the
Okay,
comments.
perfect.
Let's wait for the link so that you guys have the link. You can pull it up. It gives you more details about that too. It's a whole page that gives you details. And if you want to do it, go for it. I would love to keep walking this path and this journey with you. And this is just the next step. So it'll be great.
Okay, let me type that in right now. I apologize.
You got it?
Yeah, just a sec.
Okay. Wait for it. Wait for it.
I think we should just count down. No, don't do that. More pressure.
And we have fun too. I'm going to tell you, healing does not have to be hard. It can be fun. It can be pleasurable. It can be skipping and jumping in puddles. It can be, some of my people, my inner circle know I will jump in a pool in all my clothes just because it's fun in the rain and laugh my butt off. So
Cool. That link is in there. So if you guys want to click that, save it, copy it, paste it, love on it, all the things. That's the link right there in the
And by
comment.
the way, if you go to wendybunnell.com, there is not a link to take you there. This is by invitation, people. You guys are being invited. So this is for you if you want it. Otherwise, I will share it with a broader audience. So
Awesome. Cool.
there. So
Well,
Hey, Wendy, I got one more, Wendy and Bree. Next week we have Julie May. Wendy, could you say something about Julie May, our presenter? And so we would love to see all of you guys back next week. This has been such a great group tonight. Every Monday night, it's the same link, and we love this. We want to get to know you more and keep our soul family growing. So Wendy, tell us who Julie May is.
but I met Julie when I lived in Little Town Vernal, Utah, and we were doing personal development together, and I helped her with the Joyful Women's the Joyful Women's Conference, and unbelievable. This woman is such a powerhouse. She's such a creator. She's so connected to herself. She's going to talk to you about, I believe, what she decided she was going to teach is being extraordinary life and being that extraordinary, being okay that you might be quirky and weird and off the chart, and being your bold, beautiful self. How do you step into your authenticity? How do you step into that crazy, expansive version of yourself and not worry about what other people think? Okay, so that's fun. So, all right.
Cool. Well, our lives have been blessed. If you guys haven't registered for Inn on Fire around the corner, you'll want to get your tickets. And we'll see you next Monday. Thanks, guys.